Hi folks, welcome to this Beardychiel tutorial for sections of the loopy shawl or the loop shawl. I'm just setting up to add a demonstration of an Estonian braid for you. A relatively straightforward process, piece of colour work, and I hope you all enjoy it. I've already popped one onto this small sample piece just to let you all see how it should look when we finish. And I was creating a little bit of a spacer here between braids, so I'm just finishing the last of the purl rows between the braids, he says, managing to miss a stitch quite successfully. That says very little for my ability to knit. New lighting setup here in the conservatory with an ultra bright daylight LED mounted vertically above the table, so that when I am working on demonstrations like this, everything appears to be nice and straightforward. Whoops, knit the last stitch, you silly old devil. And here's what we're working on. This is the sort of V-shaped braid that I want you to create as part of that particular shawl, and this is the border between the textured braid sections of the shawl and before and after the looped edging. So I did say this is a two-coloured braid, so I have a second colour of yarn here. These are both just 4-ply scraps that happen to be lying, a grey and a red, and I thought that was a nice contrast for what we need to do today. So the first row, or the setup row for the braid, is really simple. I'm going to knit one in grey, and I'm going to knit one in red, leaving a little tail at the back that I'm going to be able to sew in at some point in the future. And I think I'll keep my red on top and my grey on the bottom. So that there's my grey, and let's drop that tail. And there's my red. So 25 stitches in the sample here. And this is going to be fiddly as can be because I don't normally do things like this in front of a camera. And I know that some people will work with the two colours over the one finger and just change the way they flick so that each colour gets picked up in turn. He says picking up both colours at the same time. That was spectacularly dreadful. Personally, I don't mind what method folk use. If they like to drop and pick up another colour each time, that's entirely up to them. But I tend to use my thumb for one and my forefinger for the other. As long as I don't have to twist them. I'm going to change techniques completely when I get to the next row of the braid. So, knit one in red, knit one in background colour, knit one in contrast colour. Knit one in background colour, knit one in the contrast. And just continue that until the end of the row, which on the shawl will take a lot longer than in this short demonstration. Now there are a written set of instructions for this in the pattern as well, but I know that some people like to see one done as well as read one, just to make sure that they've got exactly the right idea in their head. So there we go, our setup row is complete. 1 and 1 all the way across. Now the braid itself is built up on purl bumps and yarn twists. Consequently, when we turn this round to work the next row, because we want purl bumps on the other side of the fabric, We are specifically going to be knitting rather than purling. So let me pick this up for you and we'll make a start. So I'm going to knit the first stitch. Now before I knit the first red stitch, I'm going to drop my grey and I'm going to bring my red from behind and over and knit the next stitch. Into the main colour, I'm going to drop my red, pick up my grey from behind it, take it over the red and knit the next stitch. Into the red, I'm going to drop the grey, bring the red behind it and knit the red. And the same again, drop the red, pick up the grey behind it. Now, as you can imagine, this is going to build up a set of twists in your yarn. And because the shawl is quite long, you may feel that these become uncomfortable. I did, and a couple of times along the length, I took my 2 balls of wool and I disentangled them, because it just made me feel happier. I know that on the way back it will unroll itself because we're coming back in the opposite direction in the next row, but that wasn't enough for me. So sticking with the same thing, we're dropping the grey, picking the red up behind it, taking it over the top. Drop the red, pick up the grey, take it over the red and knit the next stitch. And it's that very simple winding of the stitches that make this little braid come to life. And if you've got a really strong contrast, nice bright rainbow colour against a neutral ground like this grey, the effect is going to pop quite spectacularly. And you're going to be using this to point up the change between textured stitches in the braided panel sections of the loop shawl. So it's relatively straightforward. Oh, that was clever, remember? To finish knitting the stitch. We're just about at the end of the row. I know I could have edited this and only shown you the start and end of the row, but it's such a short piece of work anyway on 25 stitches. I thought, what difference is that going to make? A minute or two's watching is nothing. And of course this one is loose because it's the first stitch and I haven't sewn that end in yet. Let's just tuck it in nice and neat and we will knit that last grey stitch. And we'll turn it round and you can see that the bottom half of the braid has formed and you can see that the stitches are rolling over and up towards the centre all the way along. So let's work the other side. Now because we want purl bumps showing on this side, this is obviously going to be a purl row. So watch and see what happens on this side. We'll just pull those twists back a little because they do tend to get in the way. Now fiddly as can be, isn't it? So let's purl that one. And as we go into the next stitch, we're going to drop the grey, we're going to pick up the red from behind it, we're going to take it over, and we're going to use it, look at this, catch my fingers, and purl. We're going to drop the red, swap up the grey, and purl. drop the red, drop the grey, pick up the red and purl. Drop the red, pick up the grey behind it and purl. Drop the grey, pick up the red and purl. Drop the red, pick up the grey and purl. Drop the grey, pick up the red and purl. And if we have a quick look, you'll see that the V-shaped braid has actually started to form there quite nicely. Oh, sorry, take that out of the way and give that a little tidy up. And there you go. You can see that the braid is forming quite nicely. Let's finish this row. I may do 2 or 3 stitches and then cut out a few seconds of film as I work my way towards the other end. So, grey from behind. Stand, that was clever. I'm working on my own shadow here. That's silly. Drop the grey, pick up the red, over the top and purl. Drop the red, pick up the grey, over the top and purl. Drop the grey, pick up the red, over the top and purl. And we're almost at the end here. So let's get this finished and you'll have a 3 or 4 minute mini tutorial to help you with the Estonian braids. I think they're Estonian braids. I'm sure they're Estonian braids. But this is a really nice, simple way to edge, he says, hitting the camera stand one more time. 2 more stitches, drop the grey, pick up the red, over the top and purl. And we're going to take that grey to the other side of the work now, so that it's easy to sew in. And we're just going to purl that last stitch. I'm not going to worry too much about that one because it'll become neat and tidy. And those 3 rows create the braid, and to make the 4th row, I'm going to turn my work I'm just going to leave myself a little tail for sewing in the red, because the next time you use it, it's going to come from the other side of the work. I'll take that red out of the way for a second while we're working, and it just simplifies the final row. The 4th row of the braid process is a straight purl row, and just to keep my square neat and tidy, I like to have a knit stitch as my first and last stitch, and we're just going to purl everything with that background colour to finish. And I know that loop has just pulled itself a little bit loose, but we'll soon find that that comes back into tension with a gentle tug, and when we're sewing it in, it's going to vanish so well that we won't have to worry about it. This is going to give us a very neat and tidy finished braid. We're going to lose those reds again very quickly at the end of this row, and because we're finishing on a purl row that's all in the background colour, the entire braid will pop beautifully into the foreground of the work when we turn it. And if it doesn't, I'm going to look like a complete and utter fool. Final stitch, let's just knit that last stitch, turn it round, and there we are, folks. One braid running neatly along the stitch, tuck that end in. As I said, it'll sew in nicely, and the whole thing is looking quite smart. So enjoy your braid knitting and enjoy the shawl. Cheery bye.